Y'all do realize that avoidantly attached individuals, because of their origin story, because of how they have had to been performative in order to get, you know, um, attention coming up, um, that performative spirit never leaves them. And so, when we sit back and think to ourselves about how is it that avoidantly attached individuals muster up enough strength to be in marriages, how do avoidantly attached individuals muster up enough strength to be in long-winded relationships, right? Because some of you guys are getting broken up with after a 5-month relationship or so forth, and you're wondering how people like myself were in longer relationships with avoidance. How are my one-on-one clients married for 30 years? How are they, living these long lives with avoidance? Well, many of these avoidants, and if you've ever received this text message or letter left on your bed or whatever the situation is that the avoidant broke this to you, they self-describe themselves as, I feel like I'm wearing a mask, I can't do this anymore, I feel like I'm not being myself, I feel like I'm lying to myself. Something of that nature, feeling like they're putting on an act that they couldn't withhold anymore. And yes, avoidants have a superpower, a super gift of being able to suppress emotions. You want to see a testament of how long they could suppress emotions? They can suppress emotions for 30 years, right? And so when they get married, they want the same thing that everybody else wants: companionship. Oh, this is what everyone's doing. I'm a 30-year-old businessman. I'm a successful guy. You got a good career, good salary. Oh, the thing that everyone wants to do is get married. All of my friends are getting married. All of my friends are having children. My siblings are grown as fuck right now. They're having kids. They're moving on. They're whatever. And so they end up doing it to be performative. They end up doing it to say, you know what, I'm not flawed. There's nothing wrong with me, to prove to myself and to prove to society that I can do this too. And just like the relationships, they end up getting in them thinking, okay, I can do this. I'm going to be optimistic. I can lock myself in and be like everyone else and be in these long-winded relationships. But it feels to them like being a fish above water. They need to get back and get their air. And so, imagine these people who need multiple sources of validation, who are typically cheaters, whether it's emotional or physical, or borderline cheating. Now you're telling them to be in a situation for many, many years where they're supposed to constitutionally only be with one person, only get validation from one person, coordinate with finances with someone, be transparent about their whereabouts, be a team member, not operate on their own schedule, not do whatever they want. You can't talk to people whoever you want of the opposite gender. You can't do this, you can't do that. That is not their natural habitat. These people do not thrive in these types of situations, no matter how courageous they think they are, and no matter how much they think that they can do it. They don't, not without therapy. And so you want to know how they end up in these long-winded marriages and things like that? Being performative, succumbing to societal pressures. And you want proof of that? That's why they don't last. Because if you got into marriage for the constitutional idea of what a marriage is, sticking it through thickness and through thick and thin, through health and wealth, through sickness and through poor, or whatever the case may be, whatever they be telling you, if that's what they really believed in, then that's what they would stick to. But they don't. They don't. Avoidance are the first. They'll be the first people to tell you, oh, things change, people change. The way that you felt 10 years ago doesn't have to be the way that you felt right now. You can outgrow people. Remember those little PUSSY excuses that they give? Yeah, so they don't believe in, they don't get into marriages, they don't get into long-term relationships because that's just what they believe in, that's what their soul wants, that's what they always felt like they were destined to do. That's not the case, because then if that was the case, they wouldn't find these easy-ass, stupid-ass like excuses to get out of the relationship and throw the relationship out the window so easily as they do. They're faking. If they loved you so much, the love that they have would not allow them to treat you how they are treating you in the end of the relationship. And similarly, the end of the relationship, how they're acting, they wouldn't be able to do that if they loved you. Make it make sense. It's performative. That's how they do it. And that's a harsh pill to swallow, that your person was pretending. And if you ask an avoidant, no, I don't think that. I don't think that about myself. Because they're always in denial. But what makes sense? Us being the more emotionally mature people. Us actually doing the research. They don't even have the courage to even look at videos or content about avoidant attachment or read the book Attached or anything like that. Just saying. This is my only TikTok page, at Antonio Breeze. Breeze with no E at the end. Please don't get scammed. Faith and dreams. Swagga, swagga, swagga.